welcome to Concert Pipeline. That's Jens Schippel.
And that is Steve Jones.
And Jens, today on the program, I'm really excited. I got a ton of energy here because this is the first of 3 BottleRock episodes that we're going to be bringing, full of content from the BottleRock in Napa Valley this past weekend. And we're going to be rolling these all out in 1 week. We've never done 3 episodes in a week before on the program. That's a heavy amount of content, and we're bringing it. We have it lined up. It's gonna happen. So really super stoked about that.
That's fantastic. You've been telling me every day about all this content that we've got to bring on. We've got to get this podcast busted out, and you're trying so hard not to leak any of the info until we record our first of the 3 episodes. So I am dying to hear what happened.
Well, I do have to bust your balls first a little bit because we had talked last week on the podcast. You knew this wasn't gonna happen.
I knew it was gonna start with some ball busting. I fully deserve this. Deserve it.
Okay. So what happened, Jens? You didn't join me for BottleRock.
I didn't, and we talk about this every year, and there's always some reason why I can't make it to BottleRock. And this time around, I don't know what it was. I honestly can't tell you.
There's no reason.
There's no reason. I was just being too cheap. I think I was being too cheap, and then I was super surprised how expensive the tickets got within the last week. I wasn't expecting that, but I was also being a total cheap ass, and I really didn't want to spend more than $200 or something.
Well, and then at one point I told you I could get you in for free. So
I know
even that was too expensive apparently.
I know, right? I mean, how ridiculous is that? I couldn't even make a free ticket. So sincere apologies. Was having a total off week, zero energy. I can't believe that Dave Grohl and Guns N' Roses and all those amazing bands didn't motivate me to get off the fucking couch, but whatever.
Hey, you missed out. Hopefully next year you'll realize how much you missed through the course of the 3 pods that we have right here. So let me lay out kind of what this looks like for the next 3 programs. This first pod is going to be the band that I had an interview with at BottleRock, a band called Lawrence, where I interviewed Gracie and Clyde Lawrence, their brother and sister combo, and an awesome band that they played the main stage at BottleRock. It was a lot of fun. We'll get into that in just a minute. But so that's going to be this first episode. Episode 2 is going to be the Dave Grohl experience, and
nice.
And so that's going to be a lot of fun.
And I feel like you're marketing this as the experience for a reason. It's not just a fancy word, but there's actually something involved with that.
There's more to come. You're gonna have to tune
there's more to come
to that next episode.
Oh my god! I just want to record that episode now. Can we do that one first? Just get that.
Out
of the way.
Patience, brother. We're gonna get to it.
Is this one of those trilogies where you have to watch the first one in order to understand the second one, or if we just jump to the second one?
I think you're going to have to live life through the first one to get to the second one, but the listeners or viewers will be able to just hop ahead if they so choose. I don't recommend it because Lawrence is great. We had a really fun conversation, and we're going to be bringing that in a second. So that is episode 2, Dave Grohl experience, and then the third is going to be the rest of BottleRock, everything else that it doesn't encompass Lawrence or Dave Grohl is going to be in the third part, which includes performances from Chromeo, Pacific Radio, Mondo Cosmo, Milky Chance, Young the Giant, Portugal the Man, Cage the Elephant, and Guns N' Roses.
What it doesn't include is our 2 fabulous artists who canceled on us.
Well, one fabulous
on
and
Friday. One fabulous and the other no one's ever heard of. But country music, kind of hard to cover that anyway. But Stevie Nicks, man.
Yeah.
You know what? I think when I really think about it, I think that was the nail in the coffin. It's like, what? Stevie isn't going to make it, and my motivation to go was like.
Yeah, and then Chris Stapleton backed out same day. Yeah, Chris Stapleton backed out same day. So there's no headliner, and that's a lot of people were bummed about that. The Highway Women, I think, is the name of the group that filled in, but they couldn't get a headliner in time, which,
Right.
okay, that's fine. I didn't, I was taking it easy on day one anyway. I went to hang out and interview Lawrence, see them perform, see a couple of other bands as well, but I didn't want to overdo it because I know how challenging a 3-day festival is.
Right.
It's a lot.
Got to pace yourself.
You got to pace yourself, and so I will
especially with
you,
all that whiskey you brought in.
I didn't on Friday. I was on my game for the
What?
interview, but
right.
yes, I did take the sunscreen flask in Saturday and Sunday and space it throughout the day, and it was great to have that, especially 90-degree heat. You just got to take the edge off a little bit, right?
So sunscreen flask, meaning it's a flask that looks like, I mean, it's a bottle that looks like sunscreen, but it's actually a flask that holds any sort of liquid that you might want to pour into it.
Exactly. Yes, and it wasn't
so
previously
you
used sunscreen.
It wasn't previously used.
No,
was it previously used whiskey though?
Oh no, I had not used it. I mean, well, the bottle had been opened. Yes, it's a big Kirkland bottle, if I were to say. But
nice. That stuff is actually pretty good. Kirkland whiskey. Anyway,
yes.
Go ahead.
So Friday. So I'm, we talked about this before, but I live just over 3 miles from where BottleRock takes place. So a lot of people Uber or drive it. I mean, and it's a lot to deal with either of those. Luckily, BottleRock was coolest part of my credentials. They gave me a parking pass. Nice. And so, which is a nice added bonus, but the parking lot is a mile away from the entrance. So it's like, okay, but biking is preferred. I'd rather bike to the festival. I could tip them, and it's easier. It's on my side of town, my side of the venue versus the parking lot, which is farther away and harder to get around back home and deal with traffic afterwards, right? So
right.
So I'm biking on Friday, and a little over a mile away from home, bike gets a flat tire. Yeah,
but it was not symbolic for the entire experience, right?
No, not at all. But I was, I was mindful of the time because I wanted to make sure I could catch Lawrence's performance which was before our interview. So I was like, oh man, what do I just push forward and go? Because I was almost at that halfway point of like, do I just go and deal with it afterwards? I'm like, I don't want to deal with the flat tire at 10 o'clock at night,
right.
or anything. So I turned around. Took the bike home. I rode on the flat, which I've done before. It skids a little bit. It was completely flat. I tried pumping it up and everything. I have a hand pump and no dice. So I drove home, went and printed the parking pass, which I luckily had, parked there, and then walked the mile to the entrance, and
there we go.
And got in, and was able to see Lawrence's performance. And for the next 2 days of the festival, luckily my buddy Joe lent me his big wheel bike, which I was able to use. I took my bike into the shop and get the
like
tire
a fat tire bike.
But yeah, it's a fat tire. Like I use it for hunting sometimes. Also, get out to where you need to go. It's a good all-terrain bike, and
that's probably why you bought it, huh? For hunting.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's for for hunting. So luckily, I mean, that was great because then I didn't have to deal with parking, because for those days it was clutch.
Right.
And went in, walked around the festival, got the lay of the land a little bit. I put my sights on the one thing I needed to make sure and eat, and that was a donut sundae, which I sent you a picture of.
Yes, that was very cruel of you. That's when the regret and the guilt really started hitting me.
Oh,
like, I mean, damn, I should be there right now eating this sundae with Steve, and why am I like lying on the couch depressed about Stevie?
It was amazing, but I definitely had regret after during the performance, because you're out and the sun's creeping, the 4 o'clock getting past this main stage. I camped out at the main stage for most of the day after the interview, because I was cool enough with the bands that were playing, and there was shade there for most of the afternoon. But like I said, Lawrence played, and before the interview too, I was at home, and I was just going down a YouTube trail of watching their music videos, which they have some cool music videos. I was really, really getting into it, and liking it. So I really recommend checking out Lawrence. they have a new album out called Hotel TV, which they're supporting, and they were doing the BottleRock performance. Then they did the culinary stage on Sunday actually, and then played a show in Berkeley on Sunday night. So they're doing a bunch of stuff around BottleRock as well.
Sweet.
And so tons of fun. I think we should get into the interview, but before we do, this is about music. This is about the live music, and we're pumping these shows full of live music. This is the one that has an interview along with it, but we're absolutely going to play a couple of Lawrence's songs throughout the podcast. We're going to start it out with their song "It's Not All About You." Here is Lawrence.
Gracie Lawrence. That's my brother Clyde Lawrence. We're from New York City. This is our first BottleRock ever. Thanks for showing up. This song's called "It's Not All About You." I don't care about your workout routine. I don't wanna listen to movies you seen. I don't need to know you met a pop star. You got a fancy new car, a favorite new bar. It's not that I don't care about what you say, but it'll be nice if we don't take the whole day. 'Cause in the end, is it true now? Baby, it's not all about you. Hey.
Because you're burning my ears and spare the detail, it's unnecessary. I got places to be and people to see.
Like you getting more than anyone.
Have you ever spent some time with yourself?
In the end, is it true now? Baby, it's not all about you. It's not about you, baby. 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 Oh, sitting here with you, I might be talking, but I was wanting to before you saw the sun.
I mean, this is the day, right? Like, what a great set you guys had, too. I mean, that's the way to start BottleRock, really.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a ton of fun.
Yes. So, what has your past year and a half been like? I mean, you're just starting to do shows again, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think like everyone, we were laying low, and we put out an album. We spent a lot of time working on the album, and we put that out, Hotel TV. It came out just a few weeks ago. We've been working on a lot of music, so that's really what we were able to really keep the ball rolling. I was going to say the train running, some metaphor. And we're really lucky that we were able to do that. We're siblings, so we live together, and we were able to work together during this time.
Okay, and you have a song about the quarantine too, and so you quarantined together.
Yeah, we have a song called "Quarantined with You," which was actually kind of just like a one-off single. We didn't end up putting it on the album, but it was kind of like a special little extra song that just felt like, some of the weird unintended consequences of the pandemic is that you became so close to the people that you were stuck with, and obviously that can have its negatives, but it can also have its positives, and the song was a little bit about that.
You brought a lot of cameos in there too. I saw Alan Stone. I saw Victoria Canal. Yeah, I interviewed her before. She's really cool.
In the music video, we had Alan, we had Jacob Collier, we had Eric Krasno, Antoine Stanley, I think. We had a bunch of really awesome people.
Yeah. So we were starting to talk before about, I mean, Napa, and you guys came in last night and had quite a special experience. So tell me about that.
Well, we went to like this amazing restaurant like called the French Laundry, which is like the craziest food experience, because we've always heard that Napa just has like unbelievable food. We've heard that BottleRock has unbelievable food, and we just figured once in a lifetime experience throwing down at the French Laundry.
There's like 18 courses, right? Like
there were a lot of courses. I lost track after a certain point.
Yeah.
Great wine, champagne. It was lovely and more decadent than I think anything any of us have ever experienced.
What was your favorite course?
My favorite course, unexpected, was the watermelon gazpacho.
Oh.
I don't know if they change the menu every day, but that was a surprising one for me. I didn't know what it would be, and it was really good.
I'd have to say the dessert was pretty epic.
Oh, yeah.
Some good ice cream. I'm always a sucker for that.
Yeah, I like it. And are you guys hanging in Napa for a weekend? Because you guys are on Sunday doing the culinary stage.
Yeah, we've got a really packed weekend here. We're just making the most of it. We haven't toured in so long. It's like so fun to get back to having like a weekend full of shows. We've got another set here at BottleRock later today, and then like a special sort of acoustic VIP set. And then we're playing a little show somewhere tomorrow, and then on Sunday we're doing a culinary stage. We're not playing music, but we're doing some kind of a culinary experience where we, and I believe John Batiste
yeah.
and a celebrity chef, very talented chef, are going to, I think, make food together, which Gracie and I certainly don't know how to do.
You have no idea what you're making, right?
No, we know as little as we could possibly know. I'm hoping the chef has something prepared for us. And then, we have a show out in Berkeley Sunday night, which is going to be really fun. So we're here the whole weekend. We're going to try to experience Napa a little bit.
They have a lot of fun at the culinary stage. I mean, they've broken world records on that stage. Snoop Dogg made the largest gin and juice on that stage.
Wow, that's a great idea. I wonder, we should try to think of, we should try to, team up with our chef beforehand, see if we can come up with like a Lawrence themed something. I'm not sure. Chicken fingers, that's true. We could do breakfast in honor of our first album.
Yeah.
We could do something that gives you heartburn in honor of our song, the Heartburn song.
The options are limitless, right?
Yeah, we've got a lot of food going on.
Yeah, no, that's a cool stage. And the album, like you said, Hotel TV, that is a freaking awesome album. And you have some great videos already out, to support it. Like first of all, I wanted to hit on a line, like channel skipping Dunder Mifflin, which I got to ask, are you guys Office fans, obviously?
Huge Office fans, probably one of our favorite TV shows ever, but there's so many TV shows referenced in that song.
Yeah.
Kind of a fun thing to do at home with friends is to go through that song, Hotel TV, and try to hear all of the secret little references we threw in there for various TV shows. But huge Office fans.
That's awesome. And your video for Don't Lose Sight is epic. I mean,
thank you.
Yeah, a comic book theme. Like, how did you come up with that?
I think Clyde and I were just talking about, I guess, how the song makes you feel. It's a really heroic song about a very simple thing, which is just like getting through the day. And the sort of like the bigness of such a small message made us feel like we wanted to do a video about superheroes, and that the superpower was just like getting through the day. And that was sort of where the premise came from, us just talking about it. Yeah.
And so you guys, let's go back. You guys, have been making music since you were born, pretty much. Especially, 3 years old. You were banging on the drums, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've been playing music since literally forever. We've got like tons of really funny videos of us playing together when I was like 4 and Gracie was 1, and I've been writing songs forever. Gracie's been singing forever. Our dad is a awesome screenwriter and director of movies, and I've been doing some music for his movies since I was like a little kid. So it's been kind of just like the only thing we've ever known in terms of like what we wanted to do with our life since we were really young. So we're really lucky to have been so passionate about that, and we're really lucky to be able to be doing it now for a living.
Yeah, I need to hear the story behind Miss Congeniality.
Yeah. That was what I was referencing before. My dad wrote the movie Miss Congeniality, which is one of like my favorite movies, and they needed like a fake theme song for the pageant.
Yeah.
You know, there's like, oh, whoops, my phone is ringing. How inappropriate of me. Oh, whoops, I accidentally just picked it up too. All right. They needed. Hold on, I'm so sorry.
You're good.
They needed a song for the pageant in the movie, and they just got a bunch of submissions from professional songwriters, and nothing was really hitting it right. And my dad knew that I was really into songwriting and that I was getting good at it. And I was about 5 at the time, and he played me some of the submissions, and then he played some of the references, like the real songs from other pageants. I just kind of like was like, oh, maybe something more like this, and then they ended up picking it. Like, he sent it to the producer and the director, was like, what about something like this? And they ended up loving it and going with it. So kind of a crazy, funny, random thing.
Yeah. And you took piano lessons when you were like 6, right?
I've been kind of playing piano since I was probably like 3 or so. Yeah.
Was it natural? Did your parents like encourage it, or was it something that you kind of gravitated towards?
I think Gracie and I were both really drawn towards music in slightly different ways. Her more like singing and performing, and me more playing instruments and songwriting at an early age. And I don't think that they pushed us towards it, but I think that we really naturally gravitated towards it. And then once we did, they really helped us dive in as fully as we wanted to.
Yeah. And Gracie, when did you find your voice? Because you have an incredible voice, and it's just a presence on stage.
Thank you. I've just been singing since I was really little, and I always loved soul singers. That was always my favorite. I always just gravitated towards, Aretha Franklin, and then, Christina Aguilera was sort of like a big soul pop-ish singer.
You were a Britney fan?
I was a Britney fan as well, of course. Christina and Britney have my heart.
If you had to choose one, which was it?
I can't even choose. It's like a Sophie's choice for me. I did have a Britney Spears themed birthday party when I was younger, so there's that. But Christina Aguilera has a great voice, and I'm a big fan. But yeah, I always loved singing, and I did it so much when I was little, and I think that I just loved those kinds of singers. And when I opened my mouth, it wasn't like I was doing any sort of affectation. It's just what I sounded like, and it was really, fortuitous that there was a overlap of the kind of singers I loved and the kind of singing I could do. And I sing all the time, and so I think it's easy to find your voice if you're constantly singing.
Yeah. And as a performer, you act as well.
Yeah.
So tell me kind of how you channel that, right? It's a different environment to be on stage in front of a crowd versus, doing takes for a TV show or a movie or what have you.
Yeah, I think the overlap between like being on set and being on stage is that you can't ever forget where you are, and you can't ever let the moment take advantage of you. You kind of have to like take advantage of the moment and be super present. So that's a real overlap and a constant thing that my brain is sort of in like a flow state, so I'm not even really conscious of what's going on. But I do think that like there is just a thing where every 30 seconds my brain's like, are you doing the most? And that doesn't mean singing the loudest or whatever, but are you doing the most, being up there, being the best version of yourself in this given moment, and reacting and listening, and just reminding yourself to keep listening and being present is a real overlap in skill set between acting and being a live performer.
Yeah, and you enjoy obviously being on that set and being able to.
What if I was like, no,
don't like it.
Thanks for asking. I'm really struggling.
Your dad's like, yeah.
Do I enjoy being on set, like for acting?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. It's so much fun, and it is. There's a lot of overlap in skill set, but it is a slightly different environment. So it's fun to kind of mix it up, and one day be performing on a stage at BottleRock on the main stage for, I hope thousands of people.
Thousands, yeah.
And another day be in a tiny room with a set behind a wall that I don't even see the other people, and I'm just doing, an intimate scene with one-on-one with some person. It's there are different muscles to flex.
Yeah. And so you started as the Clyde Lawrence band, right? And
yeah.
But you kind of tabled that when you were leaving college.
Yeah. We started out as the Clyde Lawrence band, when we were in college, just because Gracie was still in high school at the time and she wasn't able to necessarily come up for every show, and I was singing lead on most of our songs because I was writing most of our songs and I was writing, my stories. And Gracie just started coming up to more and more and more of the shows and singing lead on more and more songs. And we started writing some songs for Gracie to sing lead on, and she started writing some great songs. Soon enough, she was kind of sharing the spotlight with me, and which I totally welcomed and was super excited about. So the switch to Lawrence was very natural and obvious. So we did that as we were graduating college and kind of jumping out into the real world, so to speak.
Yeah. And how much of the band came with you when you came over to Lawrence?
Everyone. It's
okay.
the same 8 people that are in the band right now are the exact same 8 people that we graduated college with. And so most of them went to the same college with us, Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island. And we're really psyched and honored to be able to still be doing this with literally not just amazing musicians, but our actual best friends from childhood and college.
Yeah. And so tell me about some of the challenges of kind of going on tour with an 8-piece band, because that's a pretty sizable.
Yeah,
crew
I mean,
you got.
I think that an obvious challenge that many people would assume is that that many people would not get along that well, which I think is not to be underrated as a very potential thing, but we have really managed to avoid that, which I'm so happy about. Our group is just so tight knit. We all really love each other, and there's obviously difficult moments or obstacles we face, but I think have gotten really good at talking through them as a group in a really awesome way. So we get along great. I think the only downsides are really just the space and the mouths to feed. We're trying to really make this something that we can all really live lives doing and fit in the van and drive around the country. And so there's literal logistical challenges, but on a creative and a personal level, it's an absolute joy to have that many people.
Yeah. And tell me about finding your voice, because I know you strayed away from being a singer at first.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I wouldn't say I strayed. It just wasn't really my thing. I didn't really crave the spotlight. In fact, I probably shied away from the spotlight. And as a singer, I think I thought of myself as someone that sang well enough to get my ideas across from a songwriting standpoint, but always envisions one day, writing songs for someone else, whether it be Gracie or another singer that I meet, to sing. And then just as I got older and got a little bit more just less shy, not even just musically, but just as a person, became more comfortable in social settings, and just got a little older, my voice changed a little bit. Kind of around the same time, I think I both became more comfortable performing in front of people, and I think my voice took this turn where it developed this kind of interesting raspy quality that I still have. And so all those things combined to make me feel okay, maybe this is a cool avenue for me to also do some frontman kind of roles.
Yeah. And tell me about the writing of the new album. How was your approach with the world that we're in right now in terms of writing? Were you able to get all 8 of you guys together? What was that process?
Well, Clyde and I do most of the writing, and we bring it to Johnny Coe and Jordan Cohen, who are in our band, who are amazing producers. And this album in particular, we worked with John Bellion, who was an amazing collaborator with us, and he is obviously an incredible songwriter, producer, musician, artist, all the things. He's amazing. And we were really lucky we did some of the writing pre-pandemic, and then there was still some remaining writing and tying up to do during the pandemic. And Clyde and I were able to work together, and little by little, as we learned how COVID testing worked and all the things that everyone went through, we were able to add one more person to the mix, add 2 more people to the mix. There was a period of time where a few of us lived together and kind of in a little bubble to finish the album. So we found creative ways to make it work, but it was difficult to get all 8 members of the band together at the same time. But from a writing perspective, it wasn't too much of a issue.
Yeah. I want to talk to you guys about a show that you had just before the pandemic. It was actually here in the Bay Area.
The Fillmore.
You played the Fillmore, which is my favorite venue. It's amazing. There's so much history there. I mean, you can get lost in the posters on the wall.
Yeah, totally. That was one of the most fun shows we've ever played, for sure. Gracie did her first ever stage dive.
Oh, how was that?
Which in retrospect was probably a super spreader event, but no, it was yeah, we didn't know at the time, but it was epic. I mean, if the stage dive is an indication of anything, it was a super epic show. It was sold out. We have a lot of friends in San Francisco, so there's plenty of our friends there, but then plenty of our most passionate fans in San Francisco. So it was really, I'm so glad we got that one in there before COVID shut everything down.
Yeah, and you so you had recorded the show and then used the audio for a TikTok that went viral, like for Freckles. Like, I mean.
Yeah, that's right. So we basically recorded a bunch of shows on that tour, and when we got home and it was the pandemic and we couldn't play any shows, we were like, what can we do during this time to bring people the energy of a live show? And we realized that we had these shows recorded, we could actually make an official live album. So we turned 3 of our shows from San Francisco, LA, and New York, and took the best songs from each and turned it into a live album that we put out on Spotify. And then we paired some of the audio that we had like mixed professionally with just like videos that fans took from the crowd. So it was like some random iPhone video, but we put the really good quality audio that we had captured from the show. And we were just throwing stuff up on TikTok. We didn't really think it was like some special piece of video that was going to go super viral. We just thought it was a good piece of video to promote this live album, and it just went nuts. It got, I think, 4 million views overnight, and then we put up another clip the next day from the same song, and it got 1 million views. And it was just, who knows? It's a crazy TikTok world.
Do you think it was just, I mean, we're so starving for, new content, and Freckles, I mean, like hit the mark of what people were looking for? Or?
I think that the world was hungry for the like energy of a live show, and it brought that. I don't know, I mean, Gracie, you could probably speak better to like some things about the song itself that maybe like helped it do that.
Yeah, I think it was the combination of it being a live clip, which traditionally isn't what I see going viral on TikTok. So there was something sort of maybe different or alluring about that. And then also the lyrics were not written for, the intention of going viral, but they do have a lot of like relatability, and it's about insecurities, and the verse lyrics are just naming those insecurities. So I think it being, hopefully funny to people was part of what made it stand out.
Yeah. Whose decision was it to put an NSYNC cover on the album?
I'm going to give credit to Clyde where credit is due.
Well, I think I had the idea. We just do all these covers. I mean, we just got off stage here at BottleRock. We played a Beatles song and we played a Sean Paul song during our set. It's something we've always done. Covers, not just for the sake of playing covers, but trying to take great songs from all different kinds of artists and eras and really making them our own. And so that's something we've always done in our live shows, and it's something our fans really love. And we had a couple of those songs on the live album, and fans really liked those as well. So I think it just occurred to me of like, why don't we ever put some really cool original arrangement of a cover on any of our studio albums? And so we had that idea, and I think I came up with a list of a few different song options, and we just picked the NSYNC one, and then we called up our friends Ivan and Connor from Brass Tracks, who are like super talented producers and instrumentalists, and asked if they wanted to like jump on and help us make that. And I think people have really enjoyed it. I think it's something, I mean, I don't want to make any promises, but I think it's something we'll do on future albums too, is like throwing a cool Lawrence-ified cover on it.
I'll tell you, it speaks volumes to the cover, because I had to look up who it was, and obviously I'm not the NSYNC's target demographic, right. but I didn't click right away that it was NSYNC, and you made it so much your own, and that's such a challenge of covering a song.
I appreciate that. It's really funny. A lot of our younger fans, because we've gained, a lot of really young. We've always had young fans, but we've gained a lot of young fans both through this TikTok virality moment, and John Bellion has an amazing young. Contingent of his fan base, and so we've gained a lot of young fans, and I've found, at least just anecdotally, that a lot of them had no idea that song was a cover. Because NSYNC song was a little before their time, which makes me feel old as hell.
Yeah, and I want to. You guys do something in your music that that I think is really awesome as well, and I want to ask your process for it. An example is "Wash Away," that you took a demo that you had done when you were like 8, and you held on to it. I mean, for decades at this point, right? I mean, and kind of brought it back, restructured it. Like, first of all, how do you do that? How do you still have the music from when you were that young? And what? Tell me about the process of going back to that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Gracie and I think I credit our parents a lot for this. Like, Gracie and I take, like, things seriously no matter where they're coming from. So it's like music that we wrote since we were little kids. Our parents never treated us as like, oh, that's nice for a little kid. You know, our parents gave us real feedback on the song. You know, they were always really nice, but like treated the songs with respect as if they were real songs that could be out in the world. And so we have then in turn taken the music that we wrote as kids seriously, and there are some aspects of it that aren't up to snuff for what we would want to put on a Lawrence album, but then there's some stuff where it's like some ideas that from songs we wrote when we were 8 or 9 or 10 or 6 or 15 are every bit as good as ideas that we have now, and we are more than willing to grab things like Wash Away when it came time to make our debut album Breakfast, which was probably about 10 years after I wrote the song, and say, hey, you know, with some tweaks here and there and some updates, this song fits right on this album, and we still do that kind of thing to this day.
Yeah. So what are some? I mean, did you do some in the new album? That go back
It's not all about you. The hook and the main riff are from a demo I made in high school.
Yeah.
The song "Me and You" I wrote in high school. Misty Morning. I know. Oh, not on this album. Sorry, I'm going backwards.
Another one.
Yeah.
I wrote the riff for Casualty in college, and I just didn't know what to do with it, and literally like played it for Gracie at the time, and she thought it was great at the time, and we just kept like waiting for inspiration to strike because we had enough other songs that we were excited about, and it was just funny. Like, yeah, that's one. There's a bunch of things like that.
Yeah. And so tell me a little bit about kind of how it felt out there being in front of a crowd at a festival again, you know, like for this first festival you guys have done, right?
Yeah, we played one other festival, but this is definitely one of the first things we're doing back, and it's wild. I mean, it just feels great to like be in front of people and to see people having a good time and feel like it's safe, and you know, it's just like what, I don't know, I don't want to speak for Clyde, but like I've been just like salivating to get up and play these songs in front of people, and especially because we just put out this new album, it's like exciting to see people react and already know those songs, a lot of the people who are watching our set, so that was really cool.
Yeah. What do you have planned for the tour where you guys are headlining?
I mean, we're going everywhere, North America. It's a North American tour. Lots of dates. If you live somewhere, you probably will see us.
Yeah. And okay. And I wanted to ask you as well, you wrote for 2 Hugh Grant movies?
Yeah, I've done a bunch of like music, both like songs and composing score for a bunch of different movies, including some movies that my dad has done with Hugh Grant. My dad and Hugh Grant have this amazing, wonderful, creative collaboration where they've made a handful of movies together, for which I've done a bunch of music, again, both like songs and score. And then I've done a bunch of songs and score for other projects too, outside of the Mark Lawrence Hugh Grant collabs, including you know, right now a really fun project that I have like currently going on that's ongoing is me and Jordan, our saxophone player / one of our producers, songwriters in the band. He and I are writing a lot of the songs and some of the score for the Animaniacs reboot, the Steven Spielberg produced Animaniacs reboot that's on Hulu. A lot of people grew up with that show, us included, and now they've kind of put it back on Hulu, and it's such a weird trip, awesome experience to be doing a lot of the songs for that.
So how do you go about that process when you're going into something that's animated? Do they come to you and say, this is the style we want? And
it's super cool and interesting. Yeah, I've never done animation on this level before. I've done, you know, probably over 10 movies that I've done various things for. but this is the first show or movie that I've done animation. It's a very collaborative process. So they'll come to us with a song that they want us to write, and then we will write the song and do a demo of it, and then they'll animate to the demo, but then they'll send us the animation that they've done to the demo, and sometimes it'll include fun things that we didn't prepare for in the demo. Someone hits someone over the head with a hammer on a certain beat. We'll then go back and adjust our music to make something cool happen musically on that beat. It's this real back and forth where we're passing back and forth, newer and newer versions of both the music and the animation.
That's cool. And that's like the second season of...
Yeah, the first season just came out in the fall, I think.
Yeah.
And we just finished doing the music for the second season. And I think I'm allowed to say this. We're already knee deep in writing the songs for the third season now. So animation's a long. Yeah, I did a lot of the stuff for the first season. The soundtrack actually just came out on Spotify. I encourage everyone to check it out. It was so much fun. But season 2 I think comes out later this year, and then we're knee deep in season 3, and it's just a whole process. It's really a fun, interesting job.
Oh, that's really cool. Well, as we wind down, what's a fun tour story that you guys have? Something that you're like, it happened on the road, or something that it just kind of sticks with you?
What comes to mind? I mean, I feel bad telling this story, but we did once leave a band member at a gas station.
Almost Famous, here it is, yes.
Right, exactly.
The fucking singer.
Exactly. Our glorious and lovely trumpet player, Mark, we were at a gas station, just one of those big rest stops, and we got back in the van and hit the road, and he had been sleeping in the back row, so we assumed he had gone back to sleeping in the back row, and we drove about 10-15 minutes at least, and we didn't even realize until someone put on a song that they know he loves, and they were like, "Oh, Mark, your favorite song is on," and then they were like, "Shh, he's sleeping, don't bother him," and then someone looked over in the back row, and he was like, "Guys, Mark is not here," and it turned out his phone had died, so he wasn't even able to call us, so then we had to backtrack, and we had to even remember what gas station it had been. We pulled in, he was sitting there. It was legendary, and it wasn't personal, Mark, if you're listening, and we haven't done it since.
Does he let you live it down at all, or?
No, in fact, I feel like we don't let him live it down. Every time we get back in the car from a gas station, we're like, "Mark, are you here?" So we're probably the one giving him more flack for it than the other way around, which probably isn't very fair.
Well, the fact that it only happened once when you have 8 people in the van,
I think it could be worse.
Statistically, it's working out, yeah.
But I love the Almost Famous moment. That's
exactly
my favorite movie, and that's
such a great movie.
It's great that you guys had your own of it. So, well, thank you, Clyde, and oh my God, Gracie, sorry, for taking the time today. And I really wish you luck on the rest of the tour, and enjoy BottleRock while you're here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us. And
Thank you so much.
Very cool.
That was the interview with Lawrence here on Concert Pipeline. And Jens, like I said, was such a good interview. We had set it up to happen in the media room, which was this area where just the media people conglomerate, and there was an area where we could do it like a couch area and everything. And Lawrence's representative Sarah came and met me, and she's like, "Hey, can we do this in their green room, backstage?" And I'm like, "Sure." And so she escorted me backstage to the actual backstage area, which my pass alone wouldn't get me, and we were able to do it there, which was cool. We just sat outside around a table and chatted for a while, and I can say this now because the interview just happened, but the story that they closed out with was they shared a story about how I wanted them to share a story from the road. Well, they have an 8-piece band, and so
Wow.
so they were talking about how they left one of their band members for 15 minutes.
What? They left
at a stop.
They had forgotten to put him in they left without doing a roll call, basically.
They thought it was asleep in the back, and until a song came on that they knew he liked, on
Right.
and they're like, "Oh, so and so, likes the song, he's sleeping," and then they look back, oh, he's not there, and his phone had died also, so he couldn't call them or anything. And so it was an Almost Famous moment, which I thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah, that's hilarious, man. Abandonment issues. Boom. There we have it. You
Yes.
guys. Oh my
Yeah.
God, that's funny. I'm trying to remember that scene in Almost Famous. When did that happen?
It happened. I mean, when they were on the tour bus, and they left the I think Russ is his name. I'm trying to remember the lead singer's name. They left the lead. He's like, I'm the fucking
Golden
lead
God
singer. Yeah, it's like, of course you forget me, you know, sort of thing.
Right. That's right. I totally remember that now.
Or was it Jason Lee's character? I don't know.
It could have been. I don't remember exactly which member it was, but I do remember that.
Now I'm
scene
blanking.
now.
But yeah, the bus is driving away, and sort of thing. And that actually happened in that, which is, I mean, what a great way to kind of wind out that interview. But it was enjoyable to do an in-person interview again, because we don't, we're easing back into some of those, and they're a lot of fun. Total different dynamic, but it was great. We got to talk about so much, and I really enjoyed our conversation with the two. So,
All right.
So that was a lot of fun. That's our show for this week. We're going to skip music news. I know we always end with the Dave Grohl story. We're giving you a whole episode of Dave Grohl stories coming up on the next episode of Concert Pipeline, which you don't have to wait long for. So make sure you're subscribed. You can get the podcast on Apple Music and Stitcher. Check us out on YouTube. I will say that you definitely want to check us out on YouTube right now for lots of video of the festival and performances that happened throughout the weekend, some of which will be included in the next episode of Concert Pipeline. So we're going to close us out with a song from Lawrence's set. As I mentioned, this is a song called "Get Back." It's a Beatles cover, which is. It was great. It was Clyde's voice.
Fabulous song.
Comes through in this song also, which is really awesome. So for all of us here at Concert Pipeline, that's Jen Schipple.
And that is Steve Jones.
We'll catch you next time.
We'll get back to you.
We'll get back to you.
We'll get back to you, to the place where we once belonged.
Yes.
Later.
Jojo was a man who thought he was a loner, but he knew it wouldn't last. Jojo left his home in Tucson, Arizona, for some California grass. Get back to where you once belonged. Get back some Rebecca on the alto sax. She was a woman, but she was another man. All the girls around her said she got it coming, but she knew why she cared.